This video is a quick demonstration of the new Flight Data Viewer application, which is used to view and save data recorded by one of MGL Avionics EFIS or engine monitoring systems. If your aircraft instrumentation includes a MGL Challenger, Explorer, Discovery, Extreme EMS, Enigma, Voyager, or Odyssey, then you are likely already aware of the MGL black box data recording feature, which automatically records flight and engine performance data. This data includes indicated airspeed, true airspeed, ground speed, altitude, vertical speed, G-force, heading, GPS position, bank angle, pitch angle, yaw angle, slip, RPM, cylinder head temperatures, exhaust gas temperatures, oil pressure, oil temperature, manifold pressure, fuel flow, fuel remaining, current waypoint, track and distance to waypoint. But how can you easily view, analyze, and archive this data? The solution? The Flight Data Viewer. To begin, we need to copy the flight's data from the instrument's SD card to our computer's hard drive. You'll only need to do this once for each flight. Insert the SD card into the computer's card reader. Next, from the menu, select File, Extract Data from SD card, and select the data file. The program will scan the data on the SD card and display a list of flights. Select one or more flights and click the Extract button. Each flight is displayed in its own window. Let's examine the workspace and the data available. Starting in the upper left-hand corner, we see that the flight date, beginning and ending time, and duration are displayed in the Windows title bar. Below, several graphs are displayed. First, the cylinder head temperatures. The y-axis shows the temperature scale, and the x-axis shows minutes relative to the start of the flight. Note the legend which indicates the line color used for each cylinder. The legend can be moved by holding down the mouse and dragging. Selecting the EGT tab displays exhaust gas temperatures. Next is the graph showing oil pressure, followed by the oil temperature graph. The RPM graph is next. The manifold pressure graph is empty because this aircraft's engine does not have a turbocharger. Later on, we'll show you how you can customize the Flight Data Viewer to match the equipment installed in your aircraft. Fuel flow rate is shown here. The next graph shows indicated airspeed, true airspeed, and ground speed as measured by the GPS. Altitude above sea level and ground level are shown on the next graph. Vertical speed is shown here. The blue line shows a smooth moving average. And finally, we see a simple representation of the flight path. Later, we'll see a more detailed version of this same flight path using Google Earth. Let's return to the altitude graph and click on a portion of the cruise flight. Note the vertical black line. If we now view the CHT graph, you'll see that this vertical line is displayed at the same point in time. This is a valuable tool when you want to analyze different flight or engine parameters at different phases of the flight. Now let's examine the bar graphs in the upper right-hand corner of the window. These graphs show values at a single point in time during the flight. Altitude, indicated airspeed, RPM, manifold pressure, oil temperature and pressure, cylinder head temperatures, and exhaust gas temperatures are shown. Notice how clicking on one of the line graphs updates the bar graphs. Below the bar graphs is a playback control, similar to a DVR. Clicking the play button replays the flight in real time. The time of day and flight duration show you where you are in the flight. Clicking the fast forward button increases the playback speed up to a maximum of 128. We didn't spend any time on the Flight Path tab. Let's look at it now. At the bottom of the window, we see a grid which contains all the flight's detailed data. This grid contains all the data we have viewed in the graphs and much more. The MGL black box recorder usually records data each second, which we can see in the grid's first column. Magnetic and GPS headings are shown in these columns. Bank, pitch, and yaw angles are shown here. The slip value is shown using a graphic similar to a panel-mounted slip indicator. G-force is next. Skipping past the cylinder head and exhaust gas temperatures, we see the outside air temperature. Lastly, we see the remaining fuel and fuel flow. The flight data viewer can be customized to match your preferences. Let's view the cylinder head temperature graph. Note that the y-axis values are in degrees Fahrenheit. You may prefer to view temperatures in Celsius. To change the scale, simply click the y-axis description label and select Celsius. This graph, the bar graphs, and the values in the detail grid will now be displayed in Celsius. We can also change the scale for oil pressure. First, view the oil pressure graph. Next, click the y-axis description label and select bar as the unit of measurement. The fuel flow scale can be changed from gallons per hour to liters per hour. Here we change the speed scale from miles per hour to knots. Finally, we can view altitude in meters instead of feet. All of the graphs can be printed as shown here. To customize the flight data viewer to match your aircraft's installed equipment, select Options from the menu. Since this is a quick overview of the flight data viewer's functionality, we won't cover all the options. Select the Data Enables tab. This example aircraft doesn't have a turbocharger. Uncheck manifold pressure and click the Apply button. Note that the manifold pressure graph tab disappears and the manifold pressure column is removed from the details grid. If your aircraft is using an extreme EMS, you will not record any primary flight and attitude data. No AHRS, uncheck. No GPS, uncheck. No primary flight data, such as airspeed and attitude, uncheck. Magnetic heading, uncheck. After clicking the Apply button, you'll see only data that applies to your aircraft. On the right side of the Data Enables configuration page, you can set the number of installed cylinder head and exhaust gas probes. And below you can describe each cylinder. These descriptions are shown in the CHT and EGT graph legends. To view your flight in Google Earth, select Google Earth from the menu, then select View. Google Earth will start and the satellite view will zoom to show your flight path. Use the mouse and keyboard to zoom in and out and to rotate and tilt the display. The Flight Data Viewer includes an extensible data analysis feature. Extensible because you, if you are a programmer, can write code which has access to the full set of recorded flight and engine performance data. Here is an example. Let's say you have a concern about cylinder head temperatures during the cruise phase of flight. To locate the cruise phase, first display the altitude graph. Click on the graph at a point where cruise flight begins. Hold the Shift key down and click the graph where cruise flight ends. Now select the CHT graph so that we can analyze temperatures. From the menu, select Analyze, Cylinder Temperatures. A table is displayed. The Samples column tells you how many seconds of data are included in the analysis. The minimum, maximum, and average temperature for each cylinder is shown. This type of analysis can be valuable while tuning your engine and carburetor and to track trends over time. The Flight Data Viewer allows you to easily capture, archive, view, and analyze the valuable data recorded by your MGL EFIS or MGL engine monitor.
To my left, and that's where the boys are going to be going along with their coach when they are brought out of that cave. There is a sense that they are going to be arriving here relatively soon. At the emergency room, they've erected green netting similar to what we saw at the cave entrance today. To the hospital is a miraculous accomplishment. It sure is. I mean, it was 12 hours.